Hey everyone, it's Friday and it is time to deploy. I am by myself today. So Matt and Jim are off doing other things, but that's okay. We will soldier on without them. It's been actually a very eventful week. We've had a lot of stuff happening in here at Octopus, and to share some of these things, just like to get right into it. So we have this article here from Steve. This is entitled "The State of GitOps Report: Exploring Effective GitOps." So this is actually a complimentary blog post to the new State of GitOps report that we have just published. So you can go to this URL now and download the State of GitOps report, episode 1, volume 1, edition 2025, whatever you want to call it. It is now available for you to download, and you can check it out. It's a great tome of really interesting information. We surveyed over 660 people, asking them questions about how they utilize GitOps within their organizations, and we provided a whole bunch of high-level executive summaries, graphs, charts, data, etc., to kind of highlight what people are doing in their organizations around GitOps. And so we came up with these 4 key findings. The first one being that high-performing GitOps teams are more likely to exhibit high performance in terms of their software delivery. They also have increased reliability, and they also found that we tested 5 direct GitOps security and compliance benefits, and we found there was a clear link between those that were mature in their adoption of GitOps practices and those that are attaining the benefit. And that adoption is also increasing. So if you would like to read more about the state of GitOps, you can download the report now, which is available at our publications website. And this is a blog post from Steve that complements that. So this is where he's talking about basically all the stuff that we found in the report itself, our 4 key findings, as I mentioned earlier. How the GitOps model is obviously a recursor of the GitOps model. We talked a lot about this recently in a webinar, which we hosted earlier today, which I'll talk about in a second, and some of the practices and outcomes that you can apply around this. So this is definitely something worth checking out, and we are incredibly excited. There's a lot of work that went into this, and so we're incredibly excited to announce this, and it's definitely awesome, worth checking out. Speaking of the webinar, this is a webinar here. As you can see, it was hosted by myself, and then I got out of the way and I let Dan and Steve do the talking, where they talked a lot about the State of GitOps report itself. This is now available up on our YouTube channel, which you can check out now, which is awesome. And we went for about an hour answering questions, and it's basically a highlight summary of everything that was in the report itself. We went through the key findings, the top findings that we made, provide some correlations in terms of the data itself, and we answered questions along the way. So if you're keen to follow along and you want to see couple of our brightest people at Octopus Deploy talk about it, you can check out the State of GitOps 2025 key findings and what they mean to you up on our YouTube channel. Speaking of other webinars, we have a really cool webinar coming up. This is our Octopus 2025.2 release party. This is going to feature things like the Terraform 1.0 provider that we have, deployments governance. We'll be talking about deployment freezes and other new features that are in 2025.2, and some really cool features around Kubernetes, specifically our Kubernetes live object status and insights into that. So if you want to find out more, you can join us on June 26th. We'll have a variety of folks from the product team talking about all these new features and more. And so I'd love for you to see these features. So feel free to register and check it out on that date. If you can't obviously make it, that's fine. It will be available up on our YouTube channel, which is great. Another YouTube video that recently dropped earlier today was this episode of the DevOps Toolkit, episode 25, featuring Kostis of Octopus Deploy. Looking a little grainy, that's all right. That's the internet, I guess, that he's got at the moment. But this is the Ask Me Anything series that they did, where they just basically took a series of questions from folks talking about GitOps, talking about Kubernetes, talking about Argo, a whole bunch of things. So they had a great discussion there. So make sure you check that out. DevOps Toolkit, very nice podcast worth checking out. In addition to that, Kostis was no rest for the wicked. He wrote this blog post entitled "Distribute Your Argo CD Applications to Different Kubernetes Clusters Using Application Sets." So basically, if you're looking to use Argo CD in multi-cluster setups, this is a great post that will, it's a continuation of series of posts that Kostis has written. And this one in particular breaks down how to use the application sets with cluster labels so that you can automate deployments across clusters without hard coding everything. And so instead of, writing brittle YAML files and having a combo for each app and cluster, what you do is you tag your clusters with labels things like environment equals prod or region equals EU, things like that. And that will allow you to figure out which which app and where they should go. And so this blog post is great. It's like a classic Kostis, very long, but that's okay. Very thorough, as we like to say. And this post talks through 9 different real world scenarios. So if you scroll down, you'll see that Kostis has gone and through 9 various scenarios that you might encounter in your environments, where basically running different Helm values per region, skipping certain apps for certain clusters, promoting changes across QA, staging, and prod. So basically, it basically allows you to scale. Any one of these scenarios allows you to scale as your footprint grows. So if you're looking for a very practical guide on how to apply this, and you're wrestling with multi-cluster GitOps, this is a very, very solid blueprint. And this is highly recommended. Worth checking out if you're at all curious. This is up on our CodeFresh blog, which is fantastic. And now, everyone's favorite segment, time for support on Friday. So as some folks may know, this is the episode segment that we take a question from our advice channel up on our you can't talk today, our community Slack, which is for Octopus Deploy. And this is a question that came in from Ross. Is there a way to tell an on-prem server that there will be a maintenance window and forbid deployments during the window? I see it for cloud instances. So with cloud instances, because we manage those, we'll put a notification up in the top right-hand corner where that bell is, where your notifications are, and we'll tell you, hey, just be aware that there's a maintenance window coming up, etc., for your instance, and we tend to roll those out, stagger them. And so the question here is there something similar to that to on-premise? And Mark Harrison, one of our big brains here at Octopus Deploy, jumped in immediately and said, yes, you can. There's this overall maintenance mode setting that you can turn on with on-prem instances or self-hosted customers. And so this is a doc that talks a little bit about this. So there's a setting in particular for on-prem, which under your configuration, you'll find here under maintenance, and you can enable maintenance mode. And what that will do is turn on and off turn off mostly certain capabilities. Of course, if you're an admin, you can still do the same operations, but specifically, if you're not an admin, various things will happen. So the task queue will still be processed. However, tasks which are already running will run to completion. Tasks which are already queued will be started and run through to completion. And then system tasks will be queued and executed at scheduled intervals. So what that does is basically put it into maintenance mode so that you have the ability of actually scaling this down if you need to. So that's one possibility there. And then the other one is you can also drain nodes, which is more of a HA or high availability sort of scenario that you have to think about. A lot of customers that use Octopus aren't in a high availability scenario, so may not be applicable to you, but something to think about. And that is a great question from Ross. So thank you very much, Ross, for asking that question. High availability covered as part of maintenance mode, and this is something you can certainly enable for on-prem instances, which is fantastic. All right. And there you have it. That is the week that was for everything here at Octopus. Very busy week. Had a lot of stuff, really great stuff coming down the pipe. Obviously, in terms of the product launch for 2025.2. Don't forget, we've got our webinar coming up for the party itself, the release party that I talked about earlier. But the big news this week, obviously, the State of GitOps report. So make sure to download, check that out. Share it with your friends. Let us know what you think. We interviewed a ton of people around that, and the data is really insightful. So definitely worth checking out. Until next time, on behalf of Jim and Matt, on behalf of all of us, happy deployments, everyone. Take care.